The Convention on the Rights of the Child is the most widely signed international rights document.
Article 12 of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, it says you have the right to be heard.
Human rights have a very complex and entangled history. Modern human rights start in the 1940s with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. On top of that, there's all these rights that protect specifically women, girls, or children and youth, or Indigenous people.
Human rights are the rights that protect all people simply because we're human beings, based on the principle that all people are born equal. They protect our right to live in dignity and have rights.
These are critical human rights documents that mark different points in our history.
Some of the important human rights documents in the world: the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, and of course the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is the founding document of modern human rights.
It took about 2 years to create, and global leaders all around the world, including Canadian John Peter Humphreys, came up with the UDHR, which was officially signed December 10th, 1948.
It was created as a way of preventing further atrocities that came out of World War II. Rights in Canada are upheld to the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. It's actually a really powerful and important human rights document. It's a part of the Canadian Constitution, so it's really hard to change. And the government is responsible for upholding those rights. But then the other way rights are protected are through our judicial systems, our courts. They're responsible for making sure your rights aren't violated. We're all responsible for upholding the rights of each person. If I have rights and you have rights, if I respect your rights, I'm also upholding your rights. And hopefully you'll also uphold my rights.
The Convention on the Rights of the Child is in place to protect everybody under the age of 18. It is the most widely signed international rights document, and it is aimed and designed to ensure that every child, every person under 18 is able to reach their full potential and has that opportunity. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms pushes our government to protect rights of all people. But the Convention on the Rights of the Child further pushes our government to implement programs and create opportunity for youth and young people to have their rights respected. So all of this holds our government accountable in upholding rights.
The UN Convention on the Rights of the Child is made up of a total of 54 articles that protect the rights of all children. I like to remember them by remembering 4 guiding principles. Number 1, the right to life, survival, and development. Number 2, the principle of non-discrimination. Number 3, the principle of the best interest of the child. And number 4, the right to participate. Article 12 of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, it says you have the right to be heard.
It's an important right to affect change because it can have you access decision makers and institutions, and they have a legal obligation to listen to what you as a young person are trying to share.
So everybody, all adults, all government bodies, everyone is responsible for helping us as a community uphold the rights of a child. If someone doesn't want to listen to you, just say to them that you know what your rights are and you have the right to be heard.
Human rights are tools to protect everybody from violence and abuse. The more knowledge that is out there and the more people understand about their rights, the more those rights can be respected and upheld. By the knowledge being out there and the whole community knowing about rights, it creates better ways for governments and institutions to be held accountable. Words that people like to use are indivisible and inalienable.
It means that you can't be a human being without human rights. Your human rights can never be taken away from you, but you also can't just have one right without having all your rights. You can't separate them from each other.
Somebody cannot respect one of your rights while abusing another.
Article 12 is important because it gives young people the opportunity to say, this is what matters to me, this is what's happening in the world around me, and this is how I want to be a part of that change.
Expressing your concerns or your opinions is inherently enacting your right to be heard, which is Article 12. Go out and you identify those decision makers in your life. You can write them letters, you can try and have a sit-down meeting with them, or call and leave messages. Calling can be scary, but you can do it with a group of friends. You can find ways to make sure your voice is heard by the people in your life and by the people that make decisions that affect your life.
PSA for all Canadians, this is an emergency. Please watch this fully. Like, share, repost, we need to spread the word. This Friday, June 5th, the Premier of Alberta is putting into effect the Critical Infrastructure Defensive Act, which allows for police to arrest and fine Indigenous people for being on their own land. Just take that in.
Like the night before I made that video, this guy created the petition and he told my sister about it. My sister told me, and she was like, I think you should really make a video. I just wanted to be a presence and talk about it and also spread the word in some way. That's how it started off. We didn't anticipate it to get that much reach, but it was awesome. We were able to get so many signatures on that and spread the word about it. Obviously, in the end, it did get passed, unfortunately, but because of this, we had so much support, so many people asking about it, so many people really wanting to work on it. And it's good that we're knowledgeable about it. Not only that, but it's not going to be brushed under the rug. It's like people are going to make sure that something is done and not let it be silent.
What's really interesting about the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child is that governments are responsible for upholding these rights, and they actually have to report back to the UN Committee on the Rights of the Child every 5 years to kind of get a report card back that says whether or not they're doing a good job.
Beyond just the communities and the worlds that people live in, youth and young people can advocate for change and have their voice heard by accessing the UN. There's actual mechanisms in place to have a young person or a group of young people send their concern to the UN and have that heard.
So that way, you're not just speaking to the adults in your life, but you're speaking to world leaders everywhere.